Now, where local sports always come first, this is Action Force Sports.
Hey, greetings, my friends, and here we are for week 2 of my top 10 picks for this week in high school football. After 1 week of games, things are a little clearer in some teams, but for others, it's still a mystery just how good they are or can be. For those keeping track, let me remind you again, this is a list of teams I think have the best chance to advance when we get to postseason. There are smaller schools here that could, and in some cases most certainly would, get beat by bigger schools, but it's not about who beats who head-to-head in this one. It's who I think can advance the furthest. So, here we go. Here's one more quick look at last week's list with Sherryland winning their game, Mercedes getting hit hard by Cal Allen, Harlingen was idle, Port Isabel got a win, and at number 5, Weslaco East looked good as they beat Rivera. 6 through 10 last week, Mission Vets won that tough game over Mission. Weslaco got blitzed by a surprising performance from San Benito. McCalla Memorial ran into Sherryland. Donna didn't seem to miss a Monte Bowen much. McAllen Rowe easily took down Ed Couch-Elsa. That was last week. Let's go with this week. Number 10 on my list will be the Mercedes Tigers. I know they lost to Cal Allen this past week, but I still think they have plenty to make a run. They dropped from 2 all the way to 10. Trust me, there are some teams right on their heels on my list too, but it's the Tigers in at number 10. From 10, let's check in at number 9 with another team that lost last week. That's McCalla Memorial. I got a chance to see this team in action this past week, and although they gave up all those points to Sherryland in a loss, they managed to score 28 against a tough-looking defense. Trevor Spates also showed that he's as good as billed again, including 3 touchdowns and a 99-yard run. Mustangs 0-1, but hang in there at number 10 on my list. Number 8 this week, it's time to welcome aboard a newcomer on the list. That's Edinburgh North. Now, last year, I would have had them on the top of my list or near it all season long. This year, they jump out of the gate and get the win on a last-second field goal on the road against Los Fresnos. And I know they lost so much on that team from last year's squad, but they look like they may have a little more than just riding the back of Matt Whiteside, so they're in at number 8, Edinburgh North. Number 7, a team moving up on my list, is that Donna Redskins. They took that hard blow prior to game 1 as the injury to Amonte Bowen forced them to change up quarterbacks. But against La Feria, they run it up to the tune of 35-13, and that to me means that every quarter that goes by with this team having success without Bowen means that when he gets back, and word is that he'll be back before the postseason, they'll get better and better. Donna in at number 7. At 6 this week, another team that is moving up on my list, that's McAllen Rowe. The Warriors make the jump from 10 to 6. There are a few reasons why in my book. They scored 48 points against Ed Couch-Elsa team, which tells me their offense is right on target with what they had in past few years. Nobody thought that was going to happen. And then add to it their defense under the direction of Mike Uribe, who held Ed Couch in check until some second-half big plays. They'll get better. In my book, Rowe Warriors in at number 6. At number 5 this week, I have Mission Veterans, and I'm already circling a huge game later on against Sherryland as a potential top game of the season here in the Valley. This week, they took down Mission and did it in come-from-behind fashion and did it using some defense. I know they have all those kinds of firepower on offense, but to hold Mission in check all night, they warrant number 5. Nice job, Mission Veterans. In at number 4, I give you Weslaco East. I had a chance to call their game this last week when they beat Rivera on the road. I saw plenty to vote them in at number 4. Wildcats fell behind on the road, hung in there while Rivera pulled off some big plays, and then trumped them with even bigger plays, and then got real stingy on defense in the second half for the win. This week, they take on San Benito, and this one will truly be a measuring stick for these two teams. Wildcats right now on my list at number 4. Number 3 this week on my top 10 is Port Isabel. It just might be a chance to say I told you so at least once this season. I know they lost all that talent from last year, but I remember saying to more than a few fans during the preseason, I still thought they had some talent there. In the fact that there's a whole lot of tradition on that program. They just are not a team I'm ready to write off. They're locked right there this week at number 3, Port Isabel Tarpons right there. Number 2 this week is a team that didn't play and still they moved up in the spot. I'm talking about the Harlingen Cardinals. Another team I look at as one playing on tradition and pride. It's also a team, though, that has talent. Some of it's young and are going to have to grow up in a hurry. They'll get tested this week in San Antonio, but right now I have Harlingen Cards in at number 2. That brings me to number 1 on this week, and it's the same team I had in this spot last week. That means, Sherryland Rattler fans, I side with you in claiming them as a number 1 team. What I saw this week against McCallum Memorial was a team that scored 14 points in the first quarter without the offense taking a snap. I also saw a team receive a gut check when the game was knotted at 21 and then go on to outscore their opponent 28-7 down the stretch. Scariest thing I saw from this Rattlers team was they had 2 or 3 chances to score more points. They could have run up a 70 spot on the board against Memorial's defense. This is pretty good. Sherryland Rattlers, #1. So here you go, fans, my list of the top 10 teams as we head into week 2. I also want to let you fans know on the outside looking in is San Benito and Harlingen South. Both teams stepped up to a level that took me to a surprise. If they do that again, they just might land here by week 3. Weslaco fell out, but I think Tony Villarreal will get back on track, and they may get back on my list. Hey, fans, let's make this fun on both sides. Why don't you? I took my shot here at listing my top 10. You use this social media thing and send me your list of things. Let's compare. At JoeKGBT, Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, send me your list as well. Hope you enjoyed this one, but for now it's time to step out and get ready for this week's games. I'll be back next Sunday right here with week 3's list. We'll see how it compares to this one. Hope you enjoy it. Remember, it's all in fun to promote these kids in a positive way. Until next week, Joe Bowling saying enjoy the games.